everyone. In today's podcast, in celebration of the World Habitat Awareness Month, we will be discussing a species that is endangered. Chosen for today's segment is the Sumatran rhino. Once dwelling in the foothill of eastern Himalaya in Bhutan and eastern India, through Myanmar, Thailand, possibly to Vietnam and China, and south through the Malay Peninsula. However, there was old news. Now the only surviving Sumatra rhino dwells in Sumatra and Borneo Island. Quite saddening, isn't it? Today we have here with us our wildlife biologist, Mr. Arif, and a zookeeper from Zoo Negara, Ms. Angelica, to present us with their experiences and expertise. Stay tuned for some fun facts throughout the podcast. Before we go into my first question for Mr. Arif and Ms. Angelica, I do hope Mr. Arif could give us a little overview about the Sumatran rhino. Perhaps some general information so we can get to know the species more before we jump into further information.
First and foremost, tak kenal maka tak cinta. Of course, we gotta get to know its name, both its local name and its scientific name. Commonly known as the Sumatran rhinoceros, perhaps you've also heard hairy rhinoceros or Asian two-horned rhinoceros. With the scientific name Dicerorhinus sumatrensis, it is a rare member of the family Rhinocerotidae and one of the 5 extinct species of rhinoceros. It is the only extant species of the genus Dicerorhinus.
Since Miss Angel works closely with these animals on a daily basis, why don't you give us some closure relating to the physical characteristic of a Sumatran rhinoceros? What makes it different compared to other animals?
Sumatran rhinos are the smallest of the living rhinoceroses and the only Asian rhino with 2 horns. They are covered with long hair and are more closely related to the extinct woolly rhinos than any of the other rhino species alive today. Calves are born with a dense covering that turns reddish-brown in young adults and becomes sparse, bristly, and almost black in older animals.
Onto the first fact. Fun fact. Not so fun though, I would say it's quite sad, which is Sumatran rhinos compete with the Javan rhino for the unenviable title of the most threatened rhino species. So why is that? What are the main problems faced by Sumatran rhinoceros that forbids them from surviving well? Why don't we leave the floor to Mr. Arif and Ms. Angel to discuss the topic, shall we?
Allow me to begin first. Simple. Humans are selfish, hence illegal wildlife trade. The demand for rhino horns caused a drastic increase in poaching across Africa and Asia. Horns were used for medicinal purposes and as an ornament which is often carved as connotes social status and prestige. The world's biggest wildlife trade monitoring network, Traffic, were assigned to investigate this matter, and WWF revealed that the use of rhino horns in traditional medicine persists in many countries. The remaining animals survive in small, fragmented, non-viable populations, and with limited possibilities to find each other to breed, its population decline continues. Just 2 captive females have reproduced in the last 15 years.
While I agree that is one of the main issues that threaten the livelihood of Sumatran rhinoceros, habitat loss is a common issue that must be combated as it affects most faunas on a larger scale. Invasive species, road construction, and encroachment for agricultural expansion has degraded the habitat of Sumatran rhino. For example, Bukit Barisan Selatan National Park in Sumatra is losing forest cover due to the conversion of coffee and rice by illegal settlers. The protection is also insufficient in some existing protected areas. When rhinos move outside the protected areas, most of the communities are not adequately engaged or contributed to protect them.
So, we've talked about the basics and we've talked about the issues faced by Sumatran rhino. Now, why must we do something? Why must some action be taken? Why is the Sumatran rhino important? We'll pass this question on to Mr. Arif to unravel.
One of the mega herbivores, plant eaters that weigh more than 2,000 pounds, maintain diverse woodland on which countless species depend on. If there's no rhinos, the woodland would be a completely different place. It would cause harm to other species too. It is undeniable the importance of Sumatran rhinos in the ecosystem. Sumatran rhinos also share habitat with multiple other plants and animal species. The protection of rhino protects the ecosystem on which they depend as well as other animal species including elephant, buffalo, large carnivores and many more that share the same habitat. Hence, killing two birds in one stone due to the Sumatran rhinos being a rare species, it contributes to economic growth and sustainable development through tourism, which creates job opportunities and provides tangible benefits to local communities. See how it could contribute back to the people if we were to protect it.
Truly, it is as clear as day the importance of protecting Sumatran rhinoceros from possible extinction and danger, as it will bring so much benefit to the world and to us. So Angel, what are some steps that are being done currently in order to protect the Sumatran rhinoceros today? Before that, the long-awaited fun fact section. Sumatran rhinos are the smallest of the living rhinoceros and the only Asian rhino with two horns. Now we leave the mic to Angel.
Recently, WWF supports rangers working to protect rhinos in Bukit Barisan Selatan, one of the most biologically rich areas on Earth, and Waikambas National Park, a crucial habitat for this species. WWF is also looking to show up rhino protection units on the island of Kalimantan, where Sumatran rhinos were recently discovered. It was great news celebrated by animal lovers around the world. It was an effort worth noting. WWF also works to identify the best scientific methods to monitor rhino populations in the wild, analyze data, and train survey teams. We use the most recent technologies to complete our work, such as camera traps and environmental DNA.
I've also heard that WWF works with the Indonesian government and other organizations to assess how at risk each subpopulation is and to identify immediate protection needs. WWF also supports the establishment of intensive protection zones that receive enhanced enforcement along with captive breeding facilities to help safely grow population numbers. We're moving rhinos that are isolated or in small groups and fragile populations to a place that has successfully retained a larger number of animals. We can totally see their effort in trying to protect and save this Sumatran rhinoceros.
Oh, there's also WWF continuous engagement with high-level government officials and partners to create a long-term recovery plan. We collaborate with US-based and global conservation organizations, including the IUCN Species Survival Commissions and Asian Rhino Specialist Group, the International Rhino Foundation, Wildlife Conservation Society, and Global Wildlife Conservation. However, there are still things lacking in some sense, but improvement can be made by everyone's hard work. For example, the government should allocate more fundings towards the campaign of saving Sumatran rhinoceros. We should never buy items made from the endangered species to not support the industry.
That will be all for today's sharing session. Thank you to our guest speaker for their sharing and for being willing to be here. And here's some cute rhinoceros video to make your day better. Open. Good.
Tina ikke vide det her. Det kan vi dumme. Jeg er faktisk travlt i dag. Jeg ved ikke, om du har tænkt over det. Det er du selvfølgelig også.
Ja.
Men det er sådan stik. Hvis børnene bliver mere trygge ved det, så vil den jo få lov til at løbe rundt meget mere.
Ja. Det er fandme af vejen, når hun kommer.
Jamen, det er sjældent, de løber direkte ind i os, så det her kan jeg ikke huske, de gør, men når de kommer dem horn, så skal man altså fjerne sig, fordi
Ja.
Det kan jo godt gøre ondt.
Også bare hvis de træder ind over tæerne, altså.
Jamen, der er vi jo sikkerhedssko på.
Ja.
Det er med det der, når de slår med hovedet.
Ja.
Der er altså trøjen på, og hun mærker ikke en shit.
Nej.
Du griner. Så da vi sender Tina ud på B2, og så ordner vi to bare det her sammen. Vi har rigtig set. Hun er helt op over, jo. Det er sådan en hundvand, der må I.
Ja, det er det.
Ja. Hun snød mig jo i går,
Nå,
da jeg havde lukket ind. Så var hun nået gået ud igen.
ja. Og hun kan lige klemme sig hurtigt igen.
Ja, så da jeg så skulle stå og vente på de andre, så kunne jeg høre, at hun tumlede rundt. Mor stod bare og spiste. De var jo ligeglade.
Ja, ja.
Men,
Der er der mad.
ja.